am Kamer to Mert Witness 1, and today I'm going to discuss Timmy Hoffa, or to be more correct, hashtag Timmy Hoffa. Now, there's going to be a lot of you out there scratching your head wondering what is a Timmy Hoffa. Well, it's actually a metaphor to an extent. And I really can't take credit for this. This hashtag Timmy Hoffa actually was the idea of someone on my chat, my Saturday Murdathon. And I just decided to go with it. Now, as for our little metaphor, back in the 60s, in ancient times, to a lot of you who are on the internet today, we had a president, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. And the president had a brother, Robert Kennedy, who was the Attorney General. And Robert Kennedy got a burr up his ass when it came to something known as the Mafia, which is basically just a bunch of gangsters. And one of the targets of Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy was a union president by the name of Jimmy Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa was the president of the Teamsters Union. This is a union that represents primarily truck drivers and, in other cases, warehouse workers, material handlers, that sort of thing. It's a big union, it's a powerful union, and it generates a lot of money in union dues. And Jimmy Hoffa was in trouble by both the federal government and the Mafia because of his flim-flamming, allegedly, of the union dues. And so he was the target of a great deal of attention. And one day he decided to go and meet with some associates at a diner and had what would have turned out to be his last meal. Because when Jimmy Hoffa left that diner, that's the last anybody ever saw of him. He didn't go home. He didn't do anything. He just disappeared. And as the days, weeks, months, years, and now decades have passed, everybody is trying to figure out what happened to Jimmy Hoffa. Geraldo Rivera even got in the middle of it when he tried to open a safe that was purportedly belonged to Jimmy Hoffa. And so we have the same kind of increasing speculation going on about what happened to Timmy. Because Timmy did one last live stream on Facebook, and then he vanished. His Facebook account vanished. Any live streaming of him from that day forward vanished. And he has vanished. He hasn't shown up anywhere. And there has been an increasing amount of pressure on his handler, his close associate, his biggest defender, to produce what is known as a proof of life. And she has refused to do so as of today. Now, what was produced was a rather strange image. Has a picture of a guy standing against a white wall wearing a mega hat, and spread across the t-shirt is a text saying that you don't know me, I'm being protected, or something of that nature. And the face is covered over with a text message, presumably to Mr. Sawyer, Craig Sawyer. Now, just before Mr. Timmy Hoffa disappeared, there was a lot of accusations being swung around that Craig Sawyer, who is a missing child advocate, that Mr. Sawyer may have had something to do with wanting him deceased. There were accusations of death threats in the form of text messages and that sort of thing. Now, I would certainly hope that Mr. Sawyer is not stupid enough to be running around posting text messages saying that he's going to take care of Timmy Hoffa. That would not be the brightest thing in the world to be doing. You don't make those kind of threats, especially in public. Because everybody knows that if Timmy Hoffa gets a threatening phone call or a threatening email or threats of any nature, he puts it on the internet. And so, you would think, if you're trying to eliminate suspects, that this would make Craig Sawyer a person of interest. Now, it's not accusing him of anything, it's just saying that he has a connection because his name appears on this mysterious image that was posted on Facebook. So we got that. And we get this claim that Timmy Hoffa is in some kind of witness protection program, that the government is hiding him. Well, this is a problem here. When you are in the witness protection program, you do not go around posing in front of a wall with your face blotted out by a text message saying, "Hi, Craig." The people providing the witness protection, which in this case is the Department of Justice, would frown upon such a thing. You are given very specific instructions when it comes to going into witness protection. So that kind of puts water on that theory. But more plausible theories have begun to come out, and that plausible theory is that Timmy Hoffa is the victim of foul play. That someone, for whatever reason, did him in, killed him, murdered him. Now, as I've said in previous live stream or mobile thons, actually I've said it in live streams too, but we have had a case where someone affiliated with this particular group was murdered. That, of course, is Chris Allen. He was on the receiving end of the parable, "Hell hath no fury, like a woman scorned." And the woman who was scorned allegedly shot him to death. And she is now sitting in a county jail awaiting trial, presumably this April. Last I heard, COVID has kind of messed things up in that regard. We also have another woman in Colorado who was scorned because Timmy Hoffa was part of a group that professed to be able to help people get their children out of CPS custody and into their hands permanently. And when she followed the advice of these people, she got herself arrested for attempting to kidnap her child. And so she is now awaiting trial in Colorado. There's another woman out in Utah that got in trouble for virtually the same thing. So there's a whole bunch of people out there that may have issues with the group that Timmy Hoffa is affiliated with, and who may just want to take out their scorn on Timmy Hoffa. And there's an individual sitting in Wisconsin that may not be happy with Timmy Hoffa because it was because of him that he is awaiting trial in the state of Florida because of ideas put in his head by Timmy Hoffa. So Timmy Hoffa has a lot of people who have been scorned or who have been misled, who may have done something about it or had someone do something about it on their behalf. And we're not even started here on this speculation because there's something else, and that is a power play. Now, if Timmy Hoffa were to become a martyr, he would be more valuable than if he were on the internet on a daily basis spewing his crap. And so that might be the reason he's not on the internet, why he's off the grid. But herein lies the problem. If he goes off voluntarily, one has to remember the personality of this individual and realize that it would be virtually incapable of him to go off the internet and stay off because he craves that attention. Yes, he could write and post things without saying anything, but without a proof of life, people are going to have that nagging down in the back of their head as to whether or not he's still alive. Now that's a pretty effective publicity stunt. A fake murder, fake suicide, fake whatever. And then he suddenly shows up and says, look, I've been under witness protection, I had to give all this testimony, and now I'm free to go back to normal. That's a huge risk to take, because people are going to be pissed off that he pulled this stunt to begin with. It can backfire. So the only solution to the problem is for Timmy Hoffa to die. To be permanently dead. Not fake dead, not a fake leave of absence, but dead. Now, the idea may have been presented to him for him to go offline and stay offline and let everybody speculate as to whether he's alive or not and make a martyr out of him. And at some point, Timmy Hoffa said, wait a minute, I want to get back on the air. I'm starved for attention here. I want to get out there and say and do things. And this just writing on my blog and doing these musicals on Facebook isn't enough. Or not Facebook, but other websites. But, he would have gotten a little bit stir crazy. He might even have gotten cabin fever because he would have had to be locked up in a house somewhere, not being able to do much of anything because he'd be afraid of being caught. The guy's got 4 warrants for his arrest out there, and there's people that are wanting to sue him. He has 2 lawsuits pending against him right now. And so a process server would love to throw a piece of paper in his hand. So, he has to remain hiding. Now, who on earth is going to be able to hide so completely to where nobody can find him? Even Ted Kaczynski couldn't pull that one off. Eventually, he was caught. He was communicating with people, and he got caught. So in order to keep from getting caught, Timmy Hoffa can't communicate. And the handlers realize this. They say, hey, wait a minute. Timmy Hoffa's a loose cannon. He keeps bitching about wanting to come out and start up again. We can't have this. So at some point, this publicity stunt turned into reality. And that there is a distinct possibility that Timmy Hoffa is at the bottom of one of the 1,000 lakes, is under a cornfield, or he could be buried under somebody's driveway. Maybe somebody had a driveway put in recently, and he is at the bottom of it. He's underneath the driveway. So that when you drive your car over the top of the driveway, you're driving over the top of Timmy Hoffa. Who knows? So this is where we have this little quandary. We have this individual who is a cam whore, for lack of a better word, who's gone completely off the grid. People say he's in witness protection. People saying that he's basically just hiding out because this big mean Craig is after him with all these threats, and everybody's out to get him. Mike Pence wants to kill him. Mike Pence can't kill him now because he's no longer vice president. There'd be no incentive except maybe getting pissed off at him. So there's all these people mad at him. And that's why he's in hiding. Timmy Hoffa loves to hide. He could have been safe in a county jail for 90 days. But no, he chose to go on the run. So now, he's put himself out there with a big target on his back. And he has as much said so. But now, we have a very quiet and very invisible Timmy Hoffa. Where is this guy? Is he dead or is he alive? Is he in one of those 1,000 lakes with a cinder block tied around his leg, or a pair of cement shoes? Is he pushing daisies or even corn somewhere up there? Or was he snuck down here to Florida and he was gator bait? We don't know. And we will never know. We will probably have another Jeffy Hoffa where we will never know the fate of this guy. In a year from now, 2 years from now, a decade from now, there is going to be somebody wondering, whatever happened to Timmy Hoffa? Is Geraldo going to go and open another safe to see if Timmy is stuffed in there? Who knows? But it does make you wonder. In this modern time, how can somebody just completely vanish? You have the internet, you have electronic banking, you have all kinds of things. You have facial recognition software where you can take pictures of somebody 1,000 feet away without them even knowing you're taking pictures of them. And the software will let you know if you got the right man. Look at the Capitol riots. I mean, they have found and identified people who had masks on, who were covered from head to foot with all kinds of camouflage, yet they were able to find something on that person to identify him. This should have happened with Timmy Hoffa by now. Because Timmy Hoffa is not that sophisticated. He's not good at anything. So this fact that he has been able to stay out of sight for going on 6 or 7 months is quite an achievement in this modern age. Study how Ted Kaczynski lived off the grid and how he was finally caught. He wasn't completely off the grid. He went into town. There were people that talked about the hermit that would ride his bicycle into town and steal things and, buy groceries. There was the kid that stole the airplane. He went on the lam for a little bit, got caught. And there's been various individuals who have gone on the lam and eventually got caught. There's another individual who's on the lam who will probably get caught. But the key in all these situations is there was always clues that this person was around. They either communicated or they did something to where people realized that this guy is running around out there. He's alive. Not so with Timmy Hoppa. Timmy Hoppa has completely vanished. He's gone. Nowhere to be found. Nobody is willing to put him on a live stream or on video in a proof of life. They won't go near the subject. I tried to get Task Force, who is a person who claims to be associated with Timmy Hoppa, to do just that. And except for one answer saying that he is in protective custody, Task Force refused to offer any proof whatsoever that Timmy Hoppa was still alive. So this brings us back, once again, to draw the conclusion that it is more likely than not that Timmy Hoppa is dead. This is William K. Murtaugh, Murt Witness 1. Please like, subscribe, share, and have a good one.